Now, one of the things I wanted to share with you, I just wanted to let you know what's going on with my health. I know I've mentioned it in a few of my videos lately, the reason why I'm not at work anymore. Well, the truth is I've got heart failure. After coming back from holiday, I went to Turkey for a week in the summer and just found things really difficult. Just had trouble breathing, had a really bad cough while I was away on holiday, and then decided the day after I got back from holiday, so it was just August, I went to the hospital, had a scan, and they didn't tell me at the time, but my heart was enlarged, and it's just been a real sort of battle back and forth with doctors. And at the time I was still working, so doing the night shift, lifting heavy items, and it just became really difficult to do. I was finding myself getting really out of breath, and long story short, lots of blood tests later, and first of all they told me that I didn't have heart failure, everything was fine, my bloods are back and there's nothing to worry about. And then I had to have another blood test after I'd seen the doctor again, and he said the sample that they got was lost, so I had to have another blood sample. And then, obviously thinking things were fine, had another blood test, and then they found that I do have heart failure. I struggled on for another few weeks. I was working 5 days a week, but I started having a few days off. It was just too difficult. Every time I did anything physical, it would affect my breathing, and it took me maybe an hour, 2 hours to recover from any physical tasks. Doing the night shift, quite difficult to do. I wasn't getting any sleep. It was really tough, really hard to keep working. One of the things I can't do is go to the gym anymore. This is what I used to look like. So it's quite a shock. From age 40, I joined the gym. I've been going to the gym pretty much every day, and it's just hard when your life changes so dramatically. You just got to sort of get your head around it. I'm on lots of medication, so that really does help. It helps me function, I guess, but eventually I will have to have a couple of devices. I've got a couple of dates through to see to go to the specialist hospital. I had a couple of weeks in the hospital while they put me on medication. I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic attacks, and this started when obviously the breathing, I couldn't breathe. I had a really bad cough, and that's due to my lungs being filled with fluid. So I had a couple of weeks in hospital in November. It was quite difficult, quite hard to take, knowing that I couldn't work. So I'm on the sick currently. There's a history in my family of heart problems. If you know about the heart, a normal heart, a healthy heart, it gets measured in fractures, something like that. I think that's the word. So a normal heart is 55 fractures. That's the total sort of output, the power, sort of the way your heart pumps blood around. And so 55 is a normal heart. Mine was actually 5 at the time, so I guess it's quite serious. So I'm on lots of medication, lots of tablets, and they really do help. I was really in a bad way. I was seriously poorly. But long term, I think I I may have to have a transplant, a heart transplant. So it's kind of difficult at the moment. So moving forward, I'm gonna use my painting, my YouTube to sort of it helps as a therapy. So the reason why I share this really is if anyone else is having the same sort of struggle or any sort of challenges, I think art can be used as a therapy. So that's what I carry on doing, and that helps as well. But hopefully once I get these devices I can sort of lead a normal-ish life, but I may still have to have a heart transplant, which is quite something to get my head around as well. It's not been a easy time really for the family, but I'm coping with it. I just thought I'd let you know, and let's get painting a new painting. Thanks for watching my video so far. Just to get a couple of disclaimers, or a disclaimer out of the way. I can train at the gym, possibly again, but I have been told that I won't be able to lift heavy. That's not what I intended to do anyway, but as soon as I'm probably a bit better and at least got the devices, I'll think about going to the gym again. But yeah, it's just been quite difficult not being able to do the things that I really like. I'm just lucky that I have something as painting and watercolor. So for this painting, this scene, it's another made up scene. I wanted to go quite nice with the sky. I did start off and I wanted clean water, but I'd not cleaned up my brushes again, and that seemed to become a bit of a dirty habit that I've got. So the first wash, you can see there's a slight grey to it, and that was supposed to be clean water. So I've just carried on and used that as my sort of base colour in the sky. So the lightest colour of the clouds is going to be that dirty mix. So like I said, I don't usually clean up a palette, and apparently I don't usually clean up my brushes either. So I wanted to pop in a little bit of a tree line in the distance. So these here, they may not look like nothing at the moment, but they're representing some trees, and so I'm just going in with a smaller brush and using a bit of the sort of the mud from a palette. Again, quite handy to use. Don't clean out my palette. I've not done that for a long time. There's a time and a place, I guess, and if I wanted some clean colours, then I would clean that out. But as a rule, I don't usually do that. So there's always a use for the colours that are left in the palette. So in this case, the tree line, that's what I'm doing. Just added a little bit of sap green to the mix just to get a little bit of difference in the tree line, add a bit of interest. So there is a little bit of sap green as well as this sort of earthy browny colour. And I'm just taking the tissue just to dab out some of the darker tones. Now I think what I'm going to do in this scene, what I want is sort of a bit of a misty, a mist over the trees, and just to add a bit of atmosphere. And this actually reminds me of near where I live, near my son's school. There's a big sort of open field. There's a few farms just around there, and sometimes when I used to drive home from work, or drive home from taking my wife to work, I'd come across this field, and it'd be just thick with this low mist, like a fog along the grass. So it sort of reminds me of that, and there's some houses in the sort of background in the distance, so I thought I'd add some buildings as well. So it does remind me of that scene. Maybe I've taken inspiration from that. And I'm just adding a few trees in the foreground as well, just to give some interest and to give some contrast. So the distance is quite faint, quite light, and then I've got these trees which I can add the contrast. Working on quite a small piece of paper this time. This is A4 size, and it's actually cold press. I don't know what brand it is, but just one of the paper that I found in my stash. Going a little bit dark here now for the trunks of the trees, and I'm just adding a little bit of Payne's Grey to the sap green mix that I've done for the foliage. I'm thinking for this scene, I think I'm missing a few hills in the distance, so I may add some of those shortly. But I wanted to get some grasses in the foreground and make it a bit of a rugged scene. If you've noticed, I've left a little bit of white in the front of the paper. You might be able to see that, and that just leaving that for a bit of water. We've had a lot of rain lately, so it's going to reflect the surroundings that we have here in this time of year. Plenty of rain, plenty of clouds, that sort of thing. It's absolutely freezing outside, so I am looking forward to having some nicer weather so I can get out a little bit more, take some more pictures and get around a bit. So just using my liner brush now just to flick up some of those grasses, and then I wanted to add another tree on the right hand side just to balance the scene out a little bit more. Obviously, if you've got quite a few things going on in one side of the painting, it's good to add something to the right as well, or to the other side, just to equal things up a little bit. And then I'm actually using the liner brush for the foliage. You can see the interesting marks that it leaves for the leaves. It's quite unique, quite nice. So I do like to use the liner brush. It's not normally used for this sort of purpose, but it's quite a versatile brush, not just for branches and limbs. It can also be used just as I'm doing here. So again, this is mostly sap green. I've just added a little bit of red and other colours just to make it not so vibrant. I wanted it to be muted a little bit, and then just adding a little bit here and there in the background. You can see just behind those houses and buildings, you can see those trees now coming from behind. So just keep going, and you really, there's no rush to this stage. You can take your time. You don't have to paint every single strip of grass, but for this one I just wanted to just add those and just bring the
contrasting as well, and a bit more definition in the foreground, because in the background I've got this sort of mysterious looking bit of land with mist and fog. So it's quite nice. The houses are sort of swallowed up in that, and it's hard to see. There's certainly no definition on the houses or anything like that. And like I said, I just wanted to add a few hills to the scene, and it's similar to the area where I'm thinking of. There's quite a lot of hills surrounding, so it's quite nice to add those as well. And I'm just going to take a brush and just take some of the hills out, just blot some of that out, just so it does represent more of that fog mist sort of area, especially early in the morning. You get this around this area because it's quite open, quite large open area, so you have lots of these really nice things going on. So I wanted to add a bit more colour, and so I just added some Hansi yellow light into the distant grass, and they're just defining some of those hills. Sometimes you get these tree lines or just a bit of striations. Is that what they call striations? So I just wanted to add those, just give it a little bit more character as well, a little bit more to look at. And then just darkening these buildings just a touch, just so they look more like buildings and houses and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I just wanted to just take some of that out, and it just adds a little bit more character, a bit more, just it's almost atmospheric. And just wanted to pop a few trunks in the background, not too much, and you can see you can always use your finger to blot out anything that's too defined in this sort of distance, and then just add in some more and using my finger again. So it's a simple scene, quite straightforward. I did make this up thinking of this place, so it is an actual place that I've used from my imagination, from my memory, and my memory is not the greatest, so I've sort of winged it, but thought of that area as well. So it's quite easy, quite simple scene this week, quite straightforward. And then I remove the masking tape, which gives the nice, clean, crisp edge, gives a nice little frame for the painting. So it always looks quite nice. It looks finished. And then I just wanted to, final thing, I just wanted to add a few birds to the scene. And so there's some life in it as well. So that's it. I hope you like this video. If you do, give us a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, bye bye.